Welcome back to Bloomberg News. Now let's bring in Diane Swonk, chief economist at Mesirow Financial. She's on the phone. She's also been an advisor to the Federal Reserve Board and regional Fed banks. Diane, good of you to join us today. I was wondering if we might start by getting your reaction to these Fed minutes that our Kathleen Hayes outlined at the top of the hour.
Well, I think some of the most interesting issues is the discussion on the balance sheet, not only the discussion on the expansion of the balance sheet, but also the hopes that they may be able to take down the size of the balance sheet before the end of the year. A lot of what we saw in the Fed minutes were not in the Fed statement. Many people were looking to see something regarding an exit strategy in the Fed statement, although clearly there was a lengthy talk about that exit strategy at the Fed meeting itself.
And Diane, why the disconnect then? Because our Chris Valerio was talking about that at the New York Stock Exchange. Apparently, a lot of folks down at the exchange also looking for something that had the words exit and strategy in it. Why not?
I think the fear, it showed up in the minutes themselves. There was concern about how do we convey this to the markets. We don't know exactly when we're going to be having to exit the markets. And in fact, since this meeting occurred, the economy has been a lot more volatile and less clear-cut about those green shoots that we see out there. And so I think there's a lot of uncertainty. And so the uncertainty at, one, how to convey the message. The Fed hasn't exactly been stellar in its transparency and how to convey a complex message on how to exit. Also, a lot of backlash could potentially arise. There's a lot of money on Fannie Mae's balance sheet, and the thought that the Fed would stop buying mortgage-backed securities anytime soon could cause more disruptions to the market. So I think although they've talked about it in many of their official statements and their official speeches, they've gone at length in it. Charlie Evans here in Chicago had a speech recently that went in length at how the different ways they thought they could exit their balance sheet. I think putting it in an official statement is still premature from their standpoint.
And Diane, the minutes also expressing that policymakers also saying that financial market conditions hadn't improved, and they're still expressing some concern about credit, that credit is still quite tight.
Yes, and I think that's an important issue. Is one of the things that we have yet to see is the second shoe fall. We've already seen defaults rise as a result of the recession itself, the cyclical phase of this credit crunch. Remember, this was a credit crunch that was precipitated in part by the collapse in housing and structural problems, right, and then exacerbated by the rise in unemployment. And we've yet to see the full effects of that. And so there could be a whole second wave to the credit crunch we've yet to see, and they've got to be worried and mindful of that, given how hard the credit markets have been hit overall. This is the first time ever emerging from a recession that credit markets will be smaller in the post-World War period than larger.
Diane Swonk, chief economist at Mesirow Financial, joining us on the phone. Diane, thanks.